Okay, so today we're going deep on marriage in America.
Ooh, interesting.
It is, and we've got a really interesting article here called It Takes Two.
Okay.
And it's just packed with fascinating stats about marriage. And you know what's really interesting?
What's that?
Like, fewer people are actually tying the knot these days.
Oh, really?
Yeah, but the desire to get married is still, like, super strong.
That is interesting.
So let's try to figure out why that is.
Yeah, let's unpack that a little bit.
So right off the bat, this article throws some numbers at us.
All right, I'm ready.
Okay, so last year in the U.S., there were around 1,676,911 million marriages,
Okay.
which translates to a rate of 5.1 per 1,000 people.
5.1 per 1,000.
Yeah.
Okay.
And that's actually down from 6.1 per 1,000 back in 2019.
So a definite downward trend.
Exactly. What do you think is causing that?
Well, I think a lot of things are at play here. Like societal norms have definitely shifted. Like there's less pressure now to get married young.
I could see that.
And people are focusing on other things first, like their careers or getting financially stable.
Yes, totally.
I also think there's this growing focus on personal growth and self-discovery, and many people want to like find themselves before committing to a partner.
Yeah, that makes sense. People are taking their time.
Definitely.
Figuring things out.
They do.
And speaking of time, you know, the article says the average age of marriage now is 34.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, women are marrying around 33 and men around 35.
That's a big change.
It is, right? Like way different from the whole marrying your high school sweetheart thing.
Yeah.
From older generations.
For sure.
So why do you think people are waiting longer?
Well, these days, a lot of people want to hit certain milestones first.
Like what?
Like finishing school or landing a stable job.
Right.
Or hitting certain financial goals.
Makes sense?
And those things just take longer for a lot of people nowadays.
It's true. It's a different world out there.
Yeah, it is.
But here's the thing that I find so interesting.
Okay.
Even with marriage rates declining and people waiting longer to get married,
Yeah.
the article says 58% of unmarried adults still want to get married someday.
Wow. So the desire is still there.
It is strong. Why do you think that is?
Well, I think it shows that people still crave that deep connection, that companionship.
Yeah.
Marriage represents that ultimate commitment.
Totally.
Like the ultimate partnership. And there's that sense of security, you know?
I get that.
Stability and shared goals that comes with being married.
Right.
And that's still valuable to a lot of people, even as the world changes around us.
I can see that. It's like we're wired for connection.
We are.
And partnership.
Yeah.
Even if the way we do it is changing.
Exactly.
The article does point out some obstacles to marriage, though.
I was just about to say.
Yeah. What do you see as like the biggest hurdles?
Well, the article says 41% of unmarried adults say they're not married because of finances.
Right. So financial instability.
Yeah, it's a big one.
Yeah, because everything's so expensive these days.
Exactly, like rising living costs.
Student loan debt.
And wages haven't kept up.
No, they haven't. It's tough out there.
It is, and a lot of people just don't feel financially secure enough to get married.
Yeah.
And especially if they want to start a family.
That's a lot to think about.
It is, it's a big decision.
For sure. But at least people are still marrying for love.
That's good to hear.
It is, right? The article says 88% of Americans say love is the main reason they got married.
Oh, wow, that's great.
Yeah, it is.
So even with everything else, love is still the driving force.
It is.
That's really nice to hear.
And speaking of lasting love,
Yes.
the article mentions that the average marriage in the U.S. lasts for 19.9 years.
Wow, almost 2 decades.
I know, right? It's pretty impressive considering all the challenges relationships go through.
Yeah, it really is.
But some states have even longer average marriages.
Oh, really?
Like Maine and West Virginia.
Interesting.
They're both at 22.3 years.
Wow, so why do you think we see that kind of variation?
You know, I think it really highlights how regional differences play a role.
Yeah, like what?
Things like culture, economics, even religious beliefs.
Yeah, for sure, those things can all influence how long marriages last.
Right. And it's a good reminder that there's no one-size-fits-all
Definitely.
for a successful marriage.
No, there isn't.
Now, the article also mentioned that kids often benefit from having married parents.
Oh, right.
What are your thoughts on that?
Well, the article focuses on the financial side of things.
Makes sense.
Like the resources and stability that two-parent households often have.
Okay.
And research shows that children in those environments tend to have certain advantages,
Like what kind of advantages?
especially when it comes to education and well-being.
Okay.
But we have to remember that's not a universal truth.
Right.
Plenty of strong and supportive families don't fit that traditional married couple model.
Absolutely.
It really comes down to the quality of the relationships,
Yeah.
the love and support present within the family unit.
That's the key, right?
It is. That's what really matters.
It takes a village.
Yeah, it does.
Now, for something a little different.
Okay.
The article touched on how political views can impact how people view marriage.
Oh, yeah, that's interesting.
Yeah, can you talk about that a little bit?
Well, the Democrats and Republicans often have different perspectives on marriage.
Right.
And those differences usually reflect like the broader social and cultural values within each party.
Okay.
And while we don't have to get into specific political stances here,
We don't.
It's worth noting that these different views can lead to debates about marriage policy.
Yeah.
And like the role of marriage in society as a whole.
So interesting how something so personal can be influenced by larger societal trends.
Yeah, absolutely.
So what do you think the future holds for marriage?
That's the big question, isn't it?
It is.
I mean, based on everything we've talked about today,
Yeah.
I don't think marriage is going anywhere.
Right.
But it's definitely evolving.
In what ways?
It's becoming more of a conscious choice, you know?
I can see that.
Often made later in life.
Yeah.
And influenced by a lot of different factors.
Yeah.
So marriage is kind of becoming a reflection of our changing values and priorities as a society.
I like that take. So for our listeners out there, what does marriage mean to you?
Yeah. What are your thoughts?
Is it a must-have, a distant dream, or something else entirely?
Let us know.
Share your reactions and insights on social media.
Yeah, we'd love to hear them.
Thanks for joining us for this deep dive into the ever-evolving world of marriage.
See you next time.
See you next time.